So you are very forward thinker. You're a planner. You're a businessman. You're a planner.
One British magazine once called me a cold-hearted businessman.
Cold-hearted businessman. Okay. Well, let me know when.
Which I thought was funny.
I'm waiting for the layoffs.
Right.
So, we could talk about what's next year, but knowing how you operate, what is your idea of 5 years from now?
Oh, I don't do the short term. I've never have. I hate.
Well, I'm thinking short term. 5 years is, in this day and age, technology wise, is long term.
Can't do it, man. Can't do it.
All right, so we'll go mid.
Let's go.
15.
Let's go next. I never like to put time frames.
Okay. All
What's
right.
next?
The next phase.
I'm coming up with it right now. I have ideas. I want to take a little bit of time. I think we've put out a record consistently every year for the last 3 years. Not to say that I don't want to do that again, but I think the Wretched and Divine was a chance to have a little bit more time to write, but it still was a pretty get in there, do the record, and then release it and go on tour. For a concept record, we didn't have a whole lot of time. I want to just start writing. Me and Feldy talk about writing together always. We do little stuff. We send stuff back and forth. Find, who's going to produce it, who's going to do all the stuff that, just the next steps in the band are what's really interesting to me. And I want to take some time to really look at that. We never have. Having said that, I won't do what some of my favorite bands did to me growing up, which is take 4 years, grow a beard, sit with my statues and shiny records and feel great about myself and not make another record. Because I think that's, first of all, I want to make more music while I can. And I want to make more music for fans while they want it. And those two things combined, I don't see, as much as I'm sitting here telling you now that I want to take time, I'm probably not going to. I'd love to do it, but I want to just do things. I want to make records. I want Black Veil Brides to have a new record. I was teasing my buddy Danny that in the time that they put out one more record, I put out 3 just because my mind is always working so bad.
You have a lot of friends of yours that are musicians, obviously, and especially the younger ones that we all know, and the pressure on them to be constantly on social media and being constantly got to keep it going, got to keep the content. Do you ever kind of feel that pressure? I mean, you're a pretty good Instagrammer. You don't seem to be adverse to it.
No, I like it.
So
I enjoy it, man.
But there's
no better place for vanity than just taking a picture of myself. No, I'm not a crazy social media guy. Me and Juliet always have little it's not fights, but little teasing sessions, because she will talk about everything we do in a day. And I always tease her. I'm like, babe, I'm going to the bathroom. You want to tweet about it, or just let the fans know that? Because my thing is, and she's actually, I think that since our relationship is, because she previously was always with her fans, before she and I got together, she was always known with her fans of being super open. And I think that to her credit, she knows that I'm a much more private person, and she, to her credit for our relationship, has always been very conscious of that and doesn't tweet out all this stuff, which I think to her fans, some of them might be, that were Automatic Love Letter fans, they're a little upset that she isn't so open anymore. But one of the things that, it's a kind of an unspoken thing, she knows that in my life, I have been a online media figure since I was 15, and I like to have something, and I don't hide anything from the fans. There's no secrets that but if I sit down with a bagel and watch Netflix, I don't need everyone to know that. They get enough. And I didn't learn that distinction until it was the first time we ever did a major headlining tour, and my mom was at the show, and she said that one of the things that was upsetting her was that people kept writing her. She didn't know why it upset her, but people kept writing her saying, do you have any pictures of Andy when he was a baby? And she said that she has no problem with people seeing photos, but in a sense, she wanted to say well, no, you have him now. You get him every day. You get the pictures. You don't get to know everything about when he was a kid. That's, that's mine. And I told that, and that's sort of an abiding belief that I have in my life and I have in my relationship and everything. I always try to have you get this and I get this. You get to have a lot of my life as my audience that deserves it, that've given me a career in the first place, as long as you let me have a few things and you don't try to trample on that. Just let me have some stuff for my life. Let me and the lady in my life, let us watch a movie without telling you about it, and don't get mad at me for that, because I promise you I'll give you photos and everything else. And I think our audience has been really good about that. There are some bands who don't give their audience anything. And then inversely, there's some bands that it's like they can't fucking shut up like all day, everything. And I like to think that we fall somewhere in between. You know, I think that we're the kind of group that the fans will give us our space. And also, in some ways, if I don't tweet for a couple of days, they invent that I have lung cancer, and then but I think it's a little
Not
little
to
bit
laugh
of a
about lung cancer, but yes, I know that's probably the biggest complaint I've ever heard from a lot of musicians today is that the fans won't let them shut off.
But it's okay. It's like being elected to be president and then complaining about wearing a tie. If you're lucky enough to get what you want, you should be able to deal with the accoutrements of that. And to me, if I'm lucky enough to be this guy who gets to go on stage and sell records and live the dream that I wanted to live my whole life, being like, hey, what's up, guys, shouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And it doesn't bother me. There are obviously funny things about it. Like I said, the fact that if I forget to do it, someone's like, oh, he's dead. But,
right.
You know, and that's
rehab.
Yeah,
right.
But, you know, but if I'm honest, I like talking to the kids. Those people, regardless of whether they're 65 years old or 6 years old, in some capacity can relate to me. There's the reason that they're following me is they either like my music or they have an aesthetic reason for liking me. There's something about them that is going to be my friend or be kind to me. And there's no reason that I wouldn't want to talk to those people.
So I want to ask this question, and then I want to do the lightning round, and then we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
So, and this does get talked about in the story, but I want to ask you this in person because I think just in just audio and stuff like that, it'll probably may even a different answer. But, you know, the story that we're doing with you is basically, you know, like how you became this person, mm-hmm. how you got from Cincinnati to where you're at.
Yeah.
So is there one thing that Andy of now would go back and say to that kid back then about life?
I think, and I did touch on it a little bit in the piece, that the only thing that I really, we talked about it a little bit before today as well, there are certain parts of my lack of social skill or interest that I think didn't serve me super well in the early days of me being in Los Angeles. Not even when I was younger, but when I first got to LA, I think I would have done well to make some more friends or to try to be a little bit less, this way. That's not to say that now, fortunately, I've been in a situation where I have a bunch of very close friends and I have a world of people that are around me and close to me and I can contact. But that's something that happened only in the last 5 years that I really got a close friend group, because in the early years of me being in LA, it was just what I have to do this now. And so that's maybe the only thing that I would like to, you know, I can't change anything, but maybe just be like, hey, maybe lighten up a little bit and have some friends every once in a while. Like I promise you that if you just go hang out tonight, you're not going to lose everything. Like it's all going to, you know, but who knows? Who knows what would happen?
Okay. So before I go into this lightning round, was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I'm excited about the lightning. Bring the lightning.
Okay, the lightning round. All right, here we go. So these are what I call the Wikipedia questions.
Oh, good.
So these are the ones that hopefully you won't get asked again.
Okay.
So we just get them out of the way. All right. So, but some of these you probably have been asked 40 million times. So we're just going to start off at the top. Favorite color?
Crimson.
Most unique answer I've heard yet. Favorite movie?
I'm not good at this lightning round thing. I think too much. I can't say it off the cuff. I have to say a bunch of stuff about it.
Well, don't be Hollywood. It's like you're afraid you're going to offend somebody that you know.
No, I'm not going to offend anybody. I'm genuinely trying to think what's the movie I like to watch the most. Something that never gets old.
How about you're sick with the flu and it's the one you won't get mad at?
See, that's hard. Like, it could go in so many different directions. All right, here you go. Basic. One that I always enjoy watching every time. 7.
Awesome.
Every time.
That is actually one of the few, the same thing with me. All right, favorite place to recharge. So I'm going to give you some spots, okay? Oceans, mountains, grasslands, prairie lands, stuff like that. Desert, forests, suburbia, or cities?
Probably suburbia.
Really?
Yeah. I lived in the city in LA for a while, and I went nuts. And we moved to Studio City, and I love nothing more the fact that then there's a school and there's, you know, people, and I can walk to a gas station and I can walk to a restaurant, and I love that. I don't know why I love that.
That's awesome. Favorite? Well, we kind of already had said favorite junk food.
I like York peppermint patties or Junior Mints.
Or Junior Mints. That's okay. That's awesome. Favorite old standard, like Rat Pack song.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, because there's like, see, that's a tough one too, because I got family stuff. Can I just say this? It's not one song specifically, but something that will always make me feel very comfortable because of a familial thing is anything Lawrence Welk soundtrack. All right, let me explain. My grandfather, who was one of my best friends in the world, the way that I even found out about music before I knew anything was, and performers, was watching Lawrence Welk with him all the time. So any of those weird old, like, Conway Twitty kind of songs,
Sure.
they're not necessarily the things we'd think of, but like that kind of bubblegum version of standards, like that's, to me, like that's the equivalent of like someone rubbing your back and I'm like, it's very relaxing for me.
If people don't know who Lawrence Welk was, you got to think of the Saturday Night Live sketch with Kristen Wiig. And
right, with the little hands. Yeah,
right, that's basically all taken off of Lawrence Welk. And
the show wasn't that ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Because I always used to watch this show and go like, I really want to know what that person's like off camera. They're probably not.
Did you ever watch that? Well, because you could have known. They every once in a while PBS would run Where Are They Nows, like a version
really?
and it was all the most fake, like crazy makeup, like we're doing great, and then they would cut to like Lawrence, who's just in the grave, like
right, exactly, yeah. He was Canadian, I think.
He was some kind of something.
He was really
some kind of wonderful.
He was. Favorite time period in American history.
I like that you had to clarify who Lawrence was. It didn't even occur to me that people wouldn't know. I think it's probably good that you did
There's
that.
so many people that don't even know who the Smiths are watching this. So I've just it's my age. Favorite time period in American history. If you could live in any time period.
Shit. Well, I would say it would be hard for me to pass up like late 70s, just because of there's so much that I would have liked to have seen, in terms of the early punk movement and classic rock, sort of the really shitty classic rock was dying, and like then there was disco, which is exciting for people. I'm not a disco fan, but it was an exciting time for music. And then because then early 80s you had new really fresh stuff come in, and that would have been awesome. Sure.
Favorite stiff drink?
Stiff drink. I'm a general, Jack and Coke kind of guy, but my favorite drink of all time, it's not a stiff drink, it's a very sippable drink, and we have tattoos dedicated to it, is the Seagram's whiskey and Mountain Dew. It's called a Sea-Doo, and a lot of our fans know that. I've actually seen fans get Sea-Doo tattoos the same ones we have as a band, but that's not a stiff drink. That's like so I like a double, triple whiskey with a little splash of Coke, because I'm not the like Scotch guy, man. I like a little bit of sweetness to my alcohol. Yeah, I'm the same way. Right. Well, now people know what to get you. Favorite TV series of all time? Yeah. It's really, I didn't know this until this year, but I really got to say that maybe it's not my favorite. It's a two-part answer. The thing that is like a warm blanket wrapping its arms around me is The Office. Okay. And I can't. US? Both. Because I started with the UK version. I hated the US one when it first came out, because again, how can you get better than Ricky Gervais? Right, and always hating anything that everybody gets to know about. Right. The immediacy of it, yeah. But then I grew to love it. But then and that's the one that'll always make me happy. But in terms of, I can't deny that Breaking Bad, in my estimation, is the best television show probably ever. I mean, it's incredible, really. And I'm not like a mega. I don't own shirts or whatever. Like there's mega fans of the series, but I can't deny that that's like, it's incredible. It was really well done. Favorite item of clothing you'd wear every day if you could get away with it? Well, I already do. I wear pretty much the same thing. I mean, I'm wearing this thing today, this jacket today, but normally it's the biker jacket with the black wife beater and black pants. I've been wearing these pants for about 2 weeks. I don't really wash. Why do you need to wash pants? I Febreze them. It's fine. I'm on tour right now, people. It's okay. You can excuse my weirdness about like cleanliness on tour. Most people on tour don't even bathe, so it's body spray and you're done. I do. I take care of the bathing. I try to. Favorite club to play in, not to get you in trouble. Club. When you see it on the list for this tour, you're like, oh yes. It really was for a long time. It was Peabody's. I always enjoyed playing there because it just with the memories, and the audience. For some reason, Cleveland was always really connected with us. I love West Hollywood House of Blues just because it's always a party and it's always like a homecoming. Sure. So yeah, that's how I would say. Favorite song you don't get to perform enough because it just doesn't fit the set, or a song called "Resurrect the Sun" from our latest record that we did on our headline tour to support the record. But it's a song that you can only do if you have an hour and a half set. Like and even then, it doesn't always fit contextually. It's a little different. So, but I'd love to do a song called "Lost It All," which we had on the last record as well, which it's kind of a big, epic kind of Queen thing happening. There's trumpets, and my Juliet Sims sang on the song, and it's a beautiful song. But it's one of those things that I would only ever want to do it if we could do it perfectly, and it would be a very hard song to pull off.
Tour bus, bunk, top, middle, lower.
Middle left, only because I used to be top bunk, and then I smashed every rib on the side of my body in 2011, and I had to sleep in the tour manager's bunk, which is always middle right with the fucking phone in it, because I couldn't sleep on this side of my body, and it was the only thing I could get into. I couldn't go too low, couldn't go too high because of the bones. And then I just loved it, but I hated the phone. So now I just moved to the other side. I've been on that side of the bus for years now.
Do you have a system set up in your bunk? Like somebody I knew recently, they actually went out and got a widescreen mini TV. And
I don't do any of that. Jinx does that. Jinx has an insane, like, my rhythm guitar player, it's always he has a whole studio, but he does it on his ceiling. No, I'm serious. He has a computer upside down that he's adjusted the monitor so it's upside down. He's got a full Mac Pro Tools rig he's got keyboards, he's got little MIDI string thing on the where he can play because he plays violin. He's got it all on the ceiling, so he lays and makes music like this. It's amazing. When on Warped Tour, Juliet did the second half of Warped Tour with us, and I wanted it. It's the only time I've ever decorated my bunk. I wanted her to feel comfortable because she was going to be. So I bought a bunch of fluffy pillows and stuff, and But right now I'm completely stock. Whatever was already in the bus when I got there. That's what, can't be bothered.
Favorite time of year? You're in LA now, so it's a little bit different, but
I wish that we had more of a fall, but this really is my favorite time of the year. I like the weather. I like it being the way that it is today is like my favorite temperature and feeling outside.
Favorite piece of rock and roll memorabilia that you own? Like that 7-inch or that autograph or anything?
Oh God, there's I think it's the sweetest thing that I've ever gotten, and it's not even the thing that's worth the most. It's the first year that Juliet and I were dating, she bought me my favorite Social D record, like a nice copy of that, and my favorite Bruce Springsteen record. And nice, I mean, they're not vintage, it was just like, at that point we didn't know that much about each other, and it was just like, it was the nicest, and I have it. It was very sweet that she cared that much about not the stuff that everybody knows about me. She didn't buy me a Motley Crue record or something, is what I'm saying. Like, it was really the things that meant a lot to me. So I care about that.
Well, name your holy shit show, which is the one where you walk out on stage and you're blown away.
We've played bigger shows and bigger headline shows and everything since then, but the first time we headlined London, we have since sold out Brixton Academy. Like, we've done the things that you want to do when you're a little kid, and those were amazing, and that was holy shit. But in terms of the first time I ever got to see, it was Shepherd's Bush Empire, which is a smaller venue than Brixton Academy, but it was the first time we ever headlined London, and it was what to me was 9 million people. Like, I think the capacity was like 3,500 or something, but it seemed like forever. Like, and there was balconies, and it's like a beautiful theater, and there were posters that David Bowie had played there and everything, and it was just like, I feel like we sounded great. Like, it was an amazing show. And again, it's not as if that's been the biggest show we've ever played, but I always remember that as being a moment where I walked out on stage and everything went right for me in that show. Like, I sang great. Like, it was good.
Are you really critical on this show when you're hyped?
We all are. We never it's very rare that we go back to the bus and say that we had a good show. We go back and like hate every show that we've ever done. I'm serious. I mean, it's unfortunate because we criticize any show that the fans see of us on the road and they enjoyed it. We enjoyed being there with them, but as soon as we're off the stage, we're talking about all the shit that went wrong all the time.
I'm gonna make this one up on the spot, but name the thing that you hate when industry people say to you backstage. We all have
always a thing, yeah.
There's a series of them, and sometimes I found. Maybe that.
Oh no! It's honestly for me. I think most people are avoid it now, but I hate when people tell me their career advice for me more than anything. And I hate it. I hate it because I hate when people have an opinion that, in my estimation, is not based on all the things that I've been through, and it's not. It's something that has been easier for me to understand over the years, but. Particularly when I was younger and people would give me advice, I was not ready to hear it, nor was I interested. And that was always like, I always felt really inappropriate that people would come backstage and tell me what they thought I should be doing. And I'm like, all right, well, have a good show. Glad you could let me know what you think of me. But like now Now I understand it. I mean, fortunately, it's weird because now at the point that I would get it, people don't do it anymore. But when I was young, I was just sort of, like I said before, I was not ready to hear what anybody else had to say. I wanted this to be the thing that I wanted to do.
Sure.
And almost at the risk of burning relationships with people and everything else, I just didn't, it was this. So I think when people would come backstage and be like, whether it's a booking agent, whoever, they'd be like, I think you should do next. Like, I think that it would be really cool if you shot a na-na-na and then you went and what if you wore this thing or did that? And I was just like, you don't get, only I have thoughts, which is ridiculous, but at the time hated it.
Time you almost died on the road touring.
Oh, so many. Let's just say this. I don't know if I almost died, but the most fear I ever had in my heart, and it was the smallest injury I ever got. I fractured my skull. Well, there's two things. One is an actual death thing, and then this one is just a fear thing because of where I was. Fractured my skull from here to here in Luxembourg. Now, I don't know if you know a lot about Luxembourg, but you could fit most of Luxembourg into the Cleveland House of Blues in terms of population. And
tax rates probably really high.
Yeah. Well, we were playing a show, and it was the venue capacity was 3,500 or something. And the promoter's like, you have to understand, there's not going to be a lot of people here tonight. And we're like, why? And he goes, because all of our country would have to be here for that. Like, so if you get like 300 people here, like it's awesome for us. Like our return on this is going to be awesome. So there was, like 350 people and they were through the roof. This is amazing. In a 3,500 capacity club does not look good. And we were like, whoa. So I go out there and I'm being reckless on stage. I roll underneath the drum riser and try to get myself back up, smash my skull. Now, I've broken a lot on whatever, but I tried to go to a hospital, and there is nothing scarier than the hospital in Luxembourg for an American. They don't speak English. It's a room this big. They're trying to give the needles and shit. I have a broken face. Like I don't know a lot about medicine. Cursory knowledge tells me that I don't need to be drinking weird viscous liquids and being stabbed in the arm. Like I don't think that's what I need for this. So that was frightening. The most realistic death experience where the only time in my life that I ever said I'm going to die right now or had to come to terms with the fact that I might die right now. A couple years ago, we went to Japan for the first time and we were in sound check, and the whole time we had been in Japan, there were tremors, little earthquakes, and everybody in Japan wants to make fun of us because we're California guys who know that earthquakes can go real bad, but we've not experienced that level of them. So we're bracing ourselves because we're thinking Northridge or whatever.
Right. Sure.
And we're in sound check and we're playing in Tokyo, and all of a sudden, crack. And the whole room starts to go like this. And you see the eyes of the guy who's been laughing at us go, oh shit. Says something in Japanese, starts yelling at everybody. They get us, they say, you get out of here, evacuate. Now the room doesn't collapse entirely, but there's a kink in the ceiling and the whole thing's shaking. I'm talking like speakers are swinging around and we're freaking out. We get up, it's an underground venue. So we get up, go up the steps, and we get on the street, and there is an H&M building and a Forever 21, and they're across the street. And I'm no more than the distance of an average road, two lane road with a sidewalk on either side. I'm on the other sidewalk, and the ground smashes, and H&M does this, tips and touches the Forever 21 building, and then goes back. And that was and then the whole ground splits, and then when I saw a giant building bend and touch another building and then snap back, I was like, well, this could be it. And so that was the 8.9 earthquake that then followed, the tsunami followed, and we were there during all that. So we were quarantined during the first days of the tsunami until we could leave. It was insane. Even when we got to the airport, it was still so dangerous. We had video of us getting to the airport, and they were only letting 3 flights out back to the States a day because the whole airport is still doing this. And there's stacked to the ceiling. People have sleeping bags and emergency gear, and that was the scariest thing in my life.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was rough.
Wow. Well, thankfully, you're still here with us, and if you could survive that, you could.
What if I'm not? What if I died there, and this has all just been a weird sort of post-stream?
It's very, very. What is it? Untouchable? Or yeah. Bruce Willis movie.
My whole life is a Bruce Willis movie.
Die Hard
directed
5?
by Lynch.
Yeah, right. Maybe one of the two. I really appreciate you coming in and doing this.
Thanks,
I think
man.
it was
Had
awesome.
a good time.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I keep forgetting we have to handshake because we're on video now. And I wish you the best of luck. We'll probably meet up again and we'll do one of these in the future.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Awesome. Thanks.